la la, lum, lum, lum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-ba-dum. Hi, everyone. Hello from Grand Island. Hi, Pat. So nice to see people that are close by. Oh, and then there's Betty from Santiago, Dominican Republic. Oh my gosh, it's so great. From the tip of mitten. Hi, Pat, from the tip of mitten. I don't know what that means, Rachel. That's really great. I love to see you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and I'm here to do one thing and one thing only every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and that is to give you what I know about homeopathy so that you can use this yourself. So you can do what I've done and stay away, as far away as possible, from conventional medical thought if it is of no use to you. So sometimes it is of use, more often, especially for chronic conditions, over the top, really outdated in many, many arenas. So, my friends, it's great to see you all. For those of you who do know me, hi, friends. Great to see you. And I'd love to see where everyone's from. Please tell me. Nally is from Ontario. Great. Oh, you can't hear me so well? I'll get even closer to the microphone. Okay, we'll try that again. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Hello from Grand Rapids, says Pat. And hello from, Grand Island. I said already, Michigan is shaped. Oh, I see. Michigan is shaped like a mitten. Okay, I understand. I did not know that. Hi, Jeanette in San Antonio, and Deborah from Pat. Hello, Pat from Lawrence. And it's just so great. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. It's great to see all my old friends, my students. Tell me if you're new, if you've only been here a couple of times, or if this is your first time, and tell me where you're from. I love to see where you're from. Where you're from. It is very fun for me. Eastport, Long Island is where Connie's from, and Tammy's from Montana. And there we go. Hi again from Ajax, Ontario, says Rona. So nice. Charleston, South Carolina. Okay, sounding good here. Great. Wonderful. Okay, my friends. Hi-ho, Silver. And away we go. Let's get started because this is an important subject. Because if we don't get sleep, my friends, the day is horrible. And our energy is low. Our thinking is off. We can't be creative. We don't have a sound mind if it happens time and time again. So this is worthy of speaking about. Now, I've written about this on my blog. I think it's 3 times I've written, but over the years, and I think it's useful to tell you here now. For those of you who are new and don't know this, whenever there's a condition that you're wondering about, you do this: Joette Calabrese, and then the name of the condition. So you would already have found this. So for those of you who have already found insomnia through my website, through my blog, I should say, some of this is going to be kind of old hat, but it's fun to talk about it too, because it's different reading than it is when we are talking about it, because I like to hear your take on it. I love when people tell me, I did this and it worked, or I did that, no, it didn't really work. Yeah. I love this. So I started cleaning the house like I usually do, said Thomas. And then I started sorting through things we haven't used in years. I throw some things away, my stuff, of course. And Janice asked me what has gotten into me. There's got to be a homeopathic remedy to fix me. What? I've been diagnosed with OCD about cleaning. Well, only if it's pathological, Thomas. Yeah, it's good. It's sounding good. All right, I'm glad you can hear me well. That's great. Yeah, well, there is a lot of pleasure, obviously, in cleaning house, and I've been doing a lot of that lately. More and more of it, because my house is a conglomeration of my husband's parents, my parents passing away, our old house where we, when we downsized from having, 3 kids and all the equipment, and oh my goodness, there's so much stuff. And I have to say, I love collecting. And I've got to stop that. I don't do it any longer, actually. I don't think I need to do anything. Now I collect, and I have been for years, collecting remedies and homeopathic books. And that's what gives me pleasure. But the books really are a little bit of a problem. Remedies we can always find space for. All righty, let's talk about homeopathic remedies for insomnia. And I'm going to show you something in the fourth edition of Robin Murphy's repertory, meta repertory. This is right here, this column right here. See that? See all of that? See all that print? That's all a list of homeopathic remedies for insomnia. So when somebody said, hey, you got a remedy for insomnia? Yeah, here we go. And I counted them. They're about 440 under the main rubric of just insomnia. So what we want to do is distill it, and that's what I love doing because that's what I like to use. That's why I like protocols. That's why I like to use French protocols, the Banerjee protocols that I learned through the years that I've picked up, and I like to do that. Now, not all of these will be protocols, but I am going to give you some information that will help you in determining what potency, what frequency. Oh, hi, McCarthy. Hi from Ireland. Wonderful to see you. And hello, Airedale from AB. I don't know what that means. Another Ontario. Love it. Love it. Yes, Ontarians. Yes, it's Canada's tough. It's tough. When it comes to homeopathy, the US is tough too. There are other countries that so get this, and Canada and the US used to get this. And now, of course, from the 1940s on, it's been difficult to work with homeopathy. But no matter, my friends, because this is we're working in our kitchen, right? This is kitchen table prescribing as far as I'm concerned. And you've got your remedies there and you're taking care of your family, whether your family is a husband and 5 kids, or your family is some grandkids, or your family is 5 goats and 2 cats. It matters not what your family is. This is now our focus, and that is to stay away from conventional drugs of commerce. Chemical drugs, synthetic, I should say is a better word, synthetic drugs of commerce, as often as we possibly can. And it will make us mighty. It will make us less fearful, because the whole idea is to have autonomy. And what kind of autonomy? Health autonomy. Oh, morning, Tara from freezing Western Australia. And then Laura's from Southern California. And we got folks from Texas. And okay. All right, let's see what we can talk about with this. When we know that there are 440, what did I say? Yeah, 440 remedies in that rubric. We got to scale that down. So let's do that. If we see something associated with that insomnia, it helps us. So, for example, we could keep looking this all up. Insomnia from anxiety, insomnia from congestion. I'm just looking at the rubrics now. Insomnia with delirium, causeless anxiety, and insomnia after childbirth. These are all sub-rubrics that I'm reading from this repertory. Now, let me also tell you, in all of these sub-rubrics, there are not 440 remedies. It's distilled down quite a bit. Insomnia in elderly people. That's on page 1878. Very important to know this. This is good to know. Because if we can pinpoint what the insomnia is, we can whittle it down to a smaller rubric. And that's if what I'm going to teach you tonight is not useful to you. If it's not useful, then this is where I want you to consider going. And if you're not already a student of mine, you might want very much to become one, because this is the kind of stuff we do. Okay, let's say that someone is fearful. They're panicked. They have panic attacks. Maybe they had a panic attack at 2 in.the afternoon and it's gone now, but it's bedtime, time to go to sleep, and there's still this sense of fearfulness. Then we're going to use, and I'm not saying this is only once, although it could be used even just once, but let's say this is a common event for this person. We're going to be considering a remedy such as Aconitum. Aconitum nipalis. And Aconitum nipalis it's important for you to know, we always use it in potency, which means it's never in mother tincture. It's always in potency, which means it has a number after it. And the number that I favor is either 30, but especially a 200. Aconitum. Thank you, Joette's staff. I think that's probably Serena with me, right? Is it you, Serena? I would love to know. It's really great to see who's with me. Yes, it is? Oh, good. Okay. Thanks, Serena. There she is, helping out. Okay, so Aconitum, and I like to use it generally in a 200, as I said, or also a 30. You just take it at that night, at that time. Now, if this is an acute situation, then we use it that night. If it's something that's chronic and happens time again, it could be used again the next day. Especially if you have the sense, oh my gosh, it's going to be another bad night. I've got to if I wait till it's time to go to bed, it might not help me fast enough. Although it often does, especially Aconitum, because there's something really special about that medicine that it's for that quick onset and panic feeling, and it's and I've used it myself. It is an excellent homeopathic remedy. Years ago, I had a sense. It was very strange. I don't know where it came from, where I didn't want to go to bed. It's not that I couldn't sleep. I just didn't want to go to bed. It was almost like a fear. It was really strange. It's not like I was afraid of someone breaking in the house. It was just the act of going to sleep felt foreign or fearful to me. And I have no idea why. Took a couple doses of Aconitum 200, and that was the end of it. And what I mean by a couple doses, I took it one night, fell right to sleep, no problem. About 4 days later, came back again, took it again, and that was the end of it. Now, not always, my friends, does it work like this, but often, especially for insomnia, it can. It really can. Okay, so that's Aconitum 200. Now, let's talk about a remedy that is specifically for a busy, busy mind. And especially if there's itching, like could be eczema, could be itching from, I'll tell you my own story. This makes it so easy for me to remember how to teach this to you. We have Adirondack chairs in the front of our house, and my husband and I were sitting out there, and while we were sitting there, I felt like little itches on the back of my legs, like right behind my knees. And I thought, must be, what? Could be a spider. So I rubbed away, moved the chair a little bit, kind of wiped away the chair, and sat back down again, and I felt it again. And then I felt it again. I said, something around this chair, under this chair, is affecting me. And about 2 nights later, the itching was maddening. The entire back of my legs, especially my knees, up the back of my thighs, and as my father used to say, even the old keister. I was bit. I had papules, and there was not a rash. It was obviously bites. They felt like bites. They looked like bites. When I touched them, they had that papule sensation or the papule firmness to it. And I looked it up, and I believe they were wood mites that are invisible to the naked eye, and that's exactly what they do. And if you're sitting there, then they can affect you. So I needed a remedy in order to go to sleep. Not only was my mind busy that night, whether it was from the bites or not, I could have used a bite remedy, such as ledum, right? Could have used an itching remedy, such as, say, Arsenicum. But I chose to use Coffea, because Coffea would killed 2 biscuits with 1 stone. Buttered 2 birds with 1 butter knife. So what I did was I used Coffea 200C, just 1 dose before I went to bed. The itching was, what's the best way? It melted away within, 10 minutes. And it had been really maddeningly itchy. Went away, and I dropped right away to sleep. So it killed 2 with 1 stone. Coffea, I used a 200C. And now I didn't eat it again for another 2 nights, perhaps. Did it again. And now the bites are still there. I mean, you can still see the papules. I can feel them every once in a while. I get a little itching, that starts up again, but it's not keeping me from sleeping, and it's no longer maddening. Now, even without itching, I want you to think of Coffea, because Coffea 200 is the medicine that we think of when we are, and the mind is busy too. And like you've had too much coffee, or if you actually have had too much coffee. Yeah. Even if you've had too much coffee, too much chocolate, too much sugar, anything that's overstimulating like that would get your brain going. Coca-Cola, any of those kinds of things. If you've not had any of those, and it simply is that your brain is busy and you're not able to sleep. Here's another hint about Coffea 200 when it's time to use this. It's when we fall asleep and wake up. Fall asleep, wake up. Fall asleep, wake up. That's exactly how coffee works. When someone has had too much coffee, that's exactly how it presents. They can fall asleep, but then they can't stay asleep. They wake up. They fall back to sleep, and then they wake up again. So that's your key, one of the great keys. Coffea 200C, beautiful, a little bit before bed. Now let's talk about another homeopathic medicine that I just love for apprehensive thoughts. I have that presentation tomorrow. I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm up for this. Or maybe it's not tomorrow. Maybe it's next week, and I'm already fretting about it. The apprehension is, the mind is going, but in a different way. Now the mind is going because of the angst about a forthcoming event. It might not even be a big event, might be a small event, might be for a child, for example, who can't fall asleep because it's the first day of school coming up. Tomorrow's the first day of school. I mean, that'll be coming up in a couple weeks. The child can't fall asleep. They're thinking about it. Maybe it's because they're shy and they're going to suffer from having to stand in front of a class or be around a lot of kids. Perhaps that's the issue. Or perhaps it's just the thought of something big that's about to happen. Yeah. Gelsemium. Now, if it's an everyday occurrence for a shy child, I use Gelsemium 30 once a day so that every day they get it. But if it's only for an event in which we feel as though, if I can just get over this first day of school, I'll be okay, then we could just use Gelsemium. In either case, we could use a 30, but I like it when it's a child and it's on a regular basis. We're going to use 30 every day. Okay, let's see what else let's see some questions that I've got coming in here. Let's see. Sometimes I have trouble falling asleep. I tried Arnica and Phos. Sometimes it helps and sometimes not. Yeah, Nolly, and there is something to be said about that, because sometimes we can't always 100% count on one remedy or another, but let me give you some other ideas so that you can go with that. Also, I want you to think about, listen, my friends, I'm a great believer that what we eat really matters. So perhaps it's something that you're eating or that you always eat. Let's see. Let's see what else we've got. People are saying, I'm not a coffee drinker. Coffee never seems to help me sleep, Coffea never seems to help me sleep even with my busy mind. Could that be why? No, that's not the reason why. No, it doesn't have to be like that. No, instead, if you've got a busy mind, we've got some other medicines here. Okay, so now let's talk about overwhelm. A mother who's overwhelmed, or who's had a loss, or is a worrier. And even if she's not, this is probably one of the main medicines that I consider to be used because of the world in which we live. Especially 2020, 21, 22, because of the state of the world. It wasn't the state of the state, it wasn't the state of the country, it was the whole world was caught up in the what I call one of the world's greatest charades I've ever seen in my life. And so that was a very scary moment, whether it's because someone was afraid of getting sick or afraid of overreach of the governments. Regardless of how we look at it, that was the time. And I think of Ignatia, like Saint Ignatius. Ignatia, Ignatia. Yeah, very good, Debbie. You're right. You jumped on it. You guessed it. Yep. Very good. Pat from Grand Rapids says Pat in Kansas. Yes. A lot of you are getting it. It's wonderful that you know this. Buffy says Ignatia. Yes. Heather says Ignatia. It's so good. Oh, yeah. We've got new followers who have just come in. So welcome, new followers. We're talking about the remedy Ignatia 200, and I use it in a 200C. If all you have is a 200X, use it, my friends. And don't just take it before bed. If this is something that's chronic that you have it doesn't have to be absolutely every night, but if you've got a regular ordeal of falling asleep and you're a worrier, or you have been worried, or you've had a grief, the cat died last month and you just haven't been quite the same since, or you've got a lot to get done, you've got an elderly parent you're taking care of, etc. Think Ignatia, Ignatia, Ignatia. Amara is the second word, but Ignatia is good enough. 200C, twice daily. And when I say twice daily, my friends, I'm talking about spreading it out about 12 hours apart. So if you go to bed at 10, maybe take it sometime in the morning, late morning, 9, 10, maybe 11, something like that, and then again before bed. And we take that on a regular basis. And here's the thing. A lot of times people say, I don't know if it's working. Well, are you sleeping? Well, yeah, I'm sleeping, but I don't know. I never felt anything. That's the point. What homeopathy does, my friends, is it creates a setting where it's the absence of the symptoms. It's not like a drug where it takes away the pain. Meanwhile, you feel spacey. I mean, that's how you really know it's acting, because you feel spacey, and then the pain, of course, is gone as well. There is none of that in homeopathy. There are no side effects. So it simply allows the body to bring itself back to homeostasis. It's really great. Yeah, here we go. Laura says, Ignatia is great for insomnia after grief, especially after grief. And it doesn't even have to be grief itself, although grief is a very good point of determination. We can also be using Ignatia simply because we're overwhelmed. Yes. Okay, what to do when one wakes up at 3 a.m. and after getting up to pee and cannot get to sleep again. Carol, I've got it. We're talking about that. It'll be 2 remedies from here. Okay, Ignatia, now I'm going to talk about another one in which is Kali Phos. Kali, Kali, Phos, Phos. And I like that in a 6X or a 6C. We can use it in a 30th potency, yes. We could use it in a 200, but it's so useful in a low potency. Why not? And again, this would be twice daily. And that's when someone is got a lot of mental heaviness. They've been studying. In fact, our students from the academy are just about to graduate soon. They've just been taking their exams in order to graduate. And I'm sure many of them were worried. And I'm sure many of them are here tonight with me. And so that worry, or even if it isn't worry, or even doesn't even have to show up as insomnia, that worry and that over-focus on intellectual pursuits really is touched by Kali Phos. So for those of you who have children who are going off to college this year, or high school students, and they're studying. Excuse me. This is a great medicine specifically for a brain that is taxed. Kali Phos, 6X, and we use it twice daily for days, perhaps weeks, when it's clear that it has been pretty much resolved. Then we stop. And that's the beauty of homeopathy. These are not vitamins. These are not supplements. These are homeopathic medicines. So when we see improvement, a good deal of improvement, halt. Stop using it. Allow the medicine to finish acting even on its own without the actual taking of the remedies. Excuse me. I think I'll take a sip of water. Excuse me. Okay. So Kali Phos, beautiful. That's a really great one. It's a cell salt. Matters not. Cell salts are homeopathic remedies. Now the next one, Nux Vomica. Nux Vomica wakes up at about 2 to 4, and they often can't get back to sleep. And that is a remedy that is keenly associated with, especially, doesn't have to be, but especially the liver, fatty liver. And my friends, there are more people with fatty liver than realize. Fatty liver is not just from drinking alcohol. It's from eating a diet high in carbs and sugars. Sugar, I mean, even like fruit. And this is fruit season, I know that, but my friends, resist. We should not be eating a lot of fruit. A little fruit, and when it's in season for a short period of time, not bad. But we should not be eating fruit every day. And as much as I love blueberries and raspberries, and I love all fruits, and I love mangoes, I love all of that stuff, very occasional, and especially only when it's in season, if at all possible. So, Nux Vomica, waking between 2 and 4, and especially someone who needs Nux Vomica is someone who can be actually kind of irritable during the day and can even be irritable at night when they're trying to fall asleep. That can be very frustrating for them, and they find that this is an irritable event, this nighttime inability to fall asleep or waking up and not able to fall back to sleep. It's often someone who has overindulged, and indulging can be, maybe they had a glass of wine and now they're finding at this age, I can't have wine anymore. Or they had a drink, or they had, cake, cannoli before they went to bed, or even if they didn't go to bed, it was that during that day. And then they find that they are, or they've eaten, store-bought pizza. The worst, my friends. If you have to, if you're going to eat something, please make it. Make it, my friends, as often as you possibly can. And so it can also be as a result of having been exposed to drugs. Now, someone might say, well, I don't take drugs. Well, did you get that tooth extracted a couple months ago? You had a drug. And you most likely had not only local anesthetic, perhaps even general, hopefully not, but local anesthetic. Plus, you probably had antibiotics and it may be even a sedative. Or, I've been like this. I've been waking up at 2 to 4 in the morning ever since, I don't know, last March. What happened last March? Oh, I had pneumonia. So what do you think did? Oh, it was the pneumonia. I think ever since then, it must be still in my system. Here's a rationale that people go through without realizing, my friends, that a lot of times we have to look at what was done to treat the pneumonia. It was antibiotics. So I want you to think of, yes, it was bad because of that illness, but what was used to treat it. And using drugs, even occasionally, can sometimes put somebody in a state of needing Nux Vomica. And that might show up between 2 and 4 in the evening, not being able to fall back to sleep. Oh, I've got one more here before I do so, I want to get to some questions. Oh, you're helping each other. It's so great. My 96-year-old mother has problems sleeping along with incontinence, which makes her get up several times during the night and has problems getting a good night's sleep. And somebody already gave some information, but let me just tell you something. If the person is not urinating throughout the day, but they're doing it at night, it's the kidneys. In my estimation, more often than that, it's the kidneys spilling sugar. Watch that diet. What'd she have for dinner? What does she have for dinner? It's not just that dinner. What does she have during the day? Does she have cereal for breakfast or toast and an egg? Did she have a sandwich for lunch? Carb that turns into sugar. So I want you to be thinking about that. And the doctors who are endocrinologists, especially those who are geriatric doctors, are often not looking at blood sugar as the cause of waking up and having to urinate many times in the night. Now, that's one. The other possibility is you might want to check to see if there's a urinary tract infection, especially for someone 96 years old. At that age and, 70s, 80s, 90s, urinary tract infections are super common. And how would you know? You'd have it tested, or you can test it, or there's a strong odor to the urine, or there's a little burning, or there's a aching, or something like that. So you want to be looking at that. Let's see. Maria says, young child wakes up too early, 5 a.m., even if they've gone to bed around 7. So they're waking up at 5, they're after going to bed at 7. I don't know. It depends on what you mean by a young child. I don't think that doesn't sound bad to me. Going to bed at 7, waking up at 5 doesn't sound terribly unreasonable. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Laura, for saying that. Replying to Connie, the beauty of homeopathy is that it's safe to take no matter what pharmaceutical medications someone's taking. My husband was in a bad mountain bike accident with a broken clavicle and ribs, worried about his sleep. Would Arnica 1M help? How do you do? Okay. The next remedy I'm going to talk about, my friends, is Arnica. And it doesn't matter whether someone was in a bad mountain bike accident or not. They could simply be incapable of falling asleep or not able to stay asleep. Now, this is really fascinating. When I first started to learn about homeopathy, my mother, and this was back in the late 80s, 1980s, wise guy, not 1880s. I would talk about the remedy Arnica because at the time I had a child and he would fall and I would give him Arnica. So my mother remembered the name of the remedy. Now, I'd given her a kit and she was always had difficulty falling asleep. And then she told me, you know what, Joe, that homeopathy is really working for my sleep. I said, what are you taking, Mom? She said, Arnica. At the time, the materia medicas that I had access to did not mention Arnica for insomnia. Never crossed my mind. But it was working for her. Ding, 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 ding. Why I'm saying this, my friends, is I want you to know that if a homeopathic medicine is acting, even if you don't find it in a materia medica, if it's acting, it's helping, generally speaking, don't question it. Stay with it. Because the materia medicas and even the repertory don't have everything listed there. Now, since that time, course, it's been many years, 40 years, almost 40 years. And yes, we do know Arnica is one of the great homeopathic remedies for insomnia. And it can be used as Joepathy does it, my dear old friend who passed away 2 years ago. Joepathy was Joe de Lavera. He was called Joepathy because he helped people free of charge. He was an amazing man. He lived in Sri Lanka. We became fast friends. And he would use Arnica in, I believe, a 30th potency, and he would put the remedy, 5 pills, approximately, whatever it says on the outside of the bottle, into 8 ounces of water, waited for it to dissolve, then shook it up 10 times, as I recall, is the way he did it, and then a sip from that bottle, that water bottle, was taken twice a day. Whether or not there's bad mountain bike accident. Yeah. So, that, I want you to think about that. Now, he used it in a 30th potency. I've used it in a 6th and a 30th, and I find that to be the most useful for insomnia. Oh, it's 8:31 already. I tried to get as much as I possibly could in here. One last one. I'm going to do it really fast. This is insomnia with or from either one, anxiety. There's anxiety about disease. Anxiety about, here's the big one. If this didn't affect our world. Germs. Cooties. Fear of cooties. Fear of worried about, oh my God, don't touch this, don't do that, don't wear this, stay away, 6 feet. Fear of anxiety. And then they can't sleep. Their central nervous system is all worked up over what the news just told them. And whether or not it was the news or it wasn't the news that did it, regardless, the point is, if there's anxiety and insomnia, I'm not talking about panic, I'm talking about anxiety, it is often Arsenicum album. And then that could be used in a 30th potency, it could be used in a 200 potency, and then we can use it as needed, because unless the person has anxiety every single day or pretty much every day, then we can use it in a 200 potency, perhaps a few hours before bed, and use that for a few days or so and see how it goes. See how it goes. Yes, Diane, Arsenicum album. Okay, when a remedy stops acting, do you just keep changing according to the symptoms? Yes, often. Now what I want you to do, if the symptoms change, the difficult part of homeopathy is when you're treating yourself or someone very close to you. Because it's hard to know, are the symptoms changing? I can't tell. I don't know. So in that case, you might want to work with a homeopath. Find a practicalhomeopath.com. Those are my students who have graduated from the academy, but actually more importantly from my mastery program. Some of them are here tonight who actually take cases. Find a practicalhomeopath.com, my friends, and use that if you need a homeopath. It's a great way to hire someone, whether it's long-term, short-term, and they are trained by me personally. Okay. Could the Arnica been helping with the sore muscles or aches and pains, sometimes causing it hard to fall asleep? I'm not sure I understand that. I would think that if it would help, then they would fall asleep. All right, so I'm going to have to now go. It's 8:33. I'm sorry, I tried to get as much as I could in here. But let me also tell you, friends, that you can also go to my blog, Joette Calabrese, and key in the words insomnia. I've got so much information there for you for free. And there's no obligation. And when I give you the name of the medicine that's highlighted in blue, it will take you somewhere to purchase it. I don't have an affiliate program with anyone. Nay. No, it'll maybe take you to Amazon. It might take you to Boron. It might, whoever has the remedy most readily available for the greatest number of people, that is what I put in those blogs. I don't get paid. Because if I got paid, I would be acting like conventional medical people. They get kickbacks. They have affiliate programs. Vets have affiliate programs with food companies, with dog food companies. I don't like that shtick. That's not what I'm about. If you're going to pay me anything, it's for you to come to my academy or take my courses. That's a whole different ball of wax. So, my friends, I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I appreciate your confidence in me. I love meeting with you. And we're going to go to Mighty's right now. And so I'm going to say bye till next time.